So what's good, homies? It's your man, Dr. BOA. You know, the worst situation that a man can find himself in, at least one of the worst situations, is being with a woman, developing feelings for her, becoming emotionally attached, only to find out that the woman doesn't feel the same way about you. But there's a situation that's even worse than that one. And that's when a man realizes he has allowed himself to become a monogamous man with a woman who he thinks is a monogamous woman. He's all in, only to find out that she's decided that showing her body on OnlyFans is the life for her. Even worse, she doesn't even think this warrants a conversation. Now, the reality of the scenario is this, man. Whenever you think you know a woman, you really don't know the woman. Because a woman has a tendency to do whatever it is she wants to do and justify it in her life because, again, it is her life. And the problem is a lot of you men get in these situations with these women and you just don't understand that this woman is going to do what's best for her. See, you go into a relationship heart first. And going into a relationship heart first is never going to work well for a man. As a matter of fact, the reason that the divorce rate is 50% and 80% of those divorces are filed by women is because men go into those relationships heart first. Women don't. And somebody sent me a video on IG of a guy who goes ham, loses himself emotionally because his woman decides that OnlyFans is her new man. Let's take a listen to this video, man. We'll come back and chop it up on the real tip.
I can talk to every bitch I want to, but a relationship brings exclusivity. What the fuck? I don't understand. I don't understand the thought process. Man. So you're going into stripping and OnlyFans, and you expect not to have this conversation? You can't.
Now, here's what you have to understand about a woman. You will go into a relationship with a woman who is telling you she's ready for a relationship, and she really believes what she's saying to you. But she doesn't know when she's ready. The average woman doesn't understand when she doesn't have herself together. She believes if she can make herself look good or look presentable or coincide with society's definition of what beauty is. If she's got her lashes right, and she's got her weave or her wig right, and she's got her makeup right, and she's got her fashion right, and she's got a nice bag, and she's got a nice car, and she's got a decent job, and she's got a nice apartment or a nice crib or a nice condo or whatever she's living in, she believes that she's prepared to be in a relationship. But none of those things have any effect on her emotion. The majority of women you meet are not in an emotional position that's commensurate or I'll say even required for a positive relationship with the man. But they go into these relationships making you think they are, so you go full speed ahead. And the fact that she doesn't understand when she doesn't have herself together means that she is going to try to go full speed ahead. But what a woman does in most relationships, she just mimics what you do. If you notice, when you're in a relationship with a woman, she always talks about how communication is this, how communication is that. You could be talking to her in elementary terms. Like you can't even break it down any further. And she'll act like the communication isn't right because her communication isn't right. But because you led with your heart, you're trying to do everything the woman says needs to be done. So you're doing everything on your end already, and the woman tells you that things aren't being done, so you're trying to do more on your end. When in reality, you're trying to do what's necessary on her end. See, what you got to understand, you accepting a woman at that point, at the point she doesn't know she's at now. Let's clarify that once again. She doesn't even know how emotionally distraught, how emotionally unprepared she is for a relationship. But you accepting her at that point only serves to heal her bruised self-worth in the moment. Every woman is excited to have a man who wants to be with her. Don't let a woman fool you. The only reason a woman enters into a relationship is because she's happy and excited about having this man or being in a relationship with this man. Now, that may not always be a good thing. That may be because you got the bag and she's living a poor quality life. That could be a number of things. That could be that men on your level who know her, they wouldn't touch her because they remember when she looked better. They remember when she was at her peak. See, no matter how good you think a woman looks when you meet her, it's possible that somebody else saw her at her peak. And those level of men aren't interested in her now because where she is now, to you, she's a beautiful woman. To them, she's fallen off a bit. So when you accept her at that point, it only serves to heal her bruised self-worth, which makes her dedicate herself more, not to the growth of the situation, but just being in the situation. She wants to maintain it, but you will notice very quickly that it's a one-sided relationship. What you have to understand is when you make her a newer model of herself, she'll receive attention she's not prepared for just because she's at a more stable point in her life. Now, that doesn't mean she's healed completely or that she's, dealt with the demons that she's housing in her psyche. She hasn't dealt with those things, but she feels more stable because she's not concerned about being alone. Every woman is concerned about being alone. Don't let a woman tell you she's not concerned about being alone. Even these women who have all these multiple boyfriends and beta male orbiters and hangers on, she's concerned with being alone. There's two responses to a woman's concern about being alone. Either she's going to be jumping in and out of committed relationship, sometimes with guys who never even wanted to commit to her, or she's just going to be playing the field and have access to many men at one time. Either way, it's a declaration that I don't want to be alone. So when she starts to get that attention, she's not prepared for that attention. The problem with attention, the problem with validation, the way beta males give it freely out here, is that the majority of women aren't prepared for that. They don't feel good enough about themselves. They don't have the proper self-esteem, the proper self-worth, the proper self-valuation to understand that that validation, that attention is what she deserves. Most of those women don't think they deserve that level of interaction from men, especially on social media. That's how it's so easy for a woman to get caught up on social media. Now, when you allow her to have access to your life as a stability point, and then she has access to the validation and attention from those men, because let's be honest, any man who wants a woman, when that woman comes into your life, she's automatically upgraded. So let's say, especially when it comes to cohabitation, boy, let me tell you something. If you're a man who paid the cost to be the boss in your own life, do you know the greatest gift you could ever give a woman is cohabitation? Cohabitation is the absolute best gift you could ever give a woman because it eliminates her responsibility of providing for herself. Now let's say you have a woman and you guys start to cohabitate. She moves in with you and she's making $75,000 a year. That $75,000 a year she's making, for most of you men anyway, you're not going to make a contributor to the household because you want to be this guy who, well, baby, you can just do whatever you want to do with your money because
I love you, baby, my pretty little baby. There's nothing you can do to keep me away from you.
So the majority of you men are going to let a woman can make $100,000, $150,000. You're going to let her do whatever she want to do with her money. So now you got a woman who's in a situation where she has no financial concerns, which clears a huge portion of her thoughts. A huge portion of her thought process is gone because she doesn't have to think about paying bills. Yeah, her little bills or her car note, whatever she has. And some of you guys will pay that. What I'm getting you to see is that this is an upgrade for her. So now you got a woman with an idle mind who's getting access from a whole bunch of other men that she didn't get before because she was so focused on life and she also didn't feel like she was up to snuff. When you accept a woman and bring her into your life and put her in the position of wife, you have upgraded her. And if her life upgrades before her mind, body, and spirit does, this is what you get. A woman who says, oh, man, I'm addicted to the validation. I got to have it. The validation from 100 men will make a woman feel better than you ever could if she indeed needs that validation. You can't compete with a woman who needs validation. You can't compete with the validation sources that a woman has access to when she needs validation. So you got to understand, when a woman starts to smell her own stench, I'll say, when she starts to feel like she's above the version that she was when she met you, she starts to look at you as the type of sucker who will be with that version of herself. You can't be with a woman who's not happy with herself. Because the very moment she figures out any reason, that reason may be you putting her in this position that we're talking about. The moment she figures out any reason to feel better about herself, she's going to look at you as the type of guy that she would have been with when she didn't feel good about herself. Everything in life upgrades. We do that as men. If you're making $20,000 a year, you can say what you want to say. You may be able to keep maintaining the same lifestyle at $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year, but by the time you get to $100,000 a year, homie, something's gonna change about your life. Because at $20,000 a year, you are not living a top quality of life. You are not living in the best environment. You cannot sleep well at night. But when you get to $100,000 a year, guess what? You can upgrade at least the area you live in, and most men are going to do that, if not all. It's the same thing with a woman. When she gets a psychological upgrade and she feels better about herself and she feels like she can improve her plight, she's going to improve her plight. And you're going to be that environment that she's moving away from because she feels like she deserves better than what she has now that she feels better about herself. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.
Trying to become the most alpha version of you. Dying to become the most alpha version of you. Striving to become the most alpha version of you. Fighting to become the most alpha version of you. Welcome to the alphasphere. Get money division. The place where you transform into a man on a mission. Learning to not feel guilty about selfish decisions. You and your best self would be on a head-on collision.